Hey folks, how you doing today? We're going to talk fixed cost, variable cost, and mixed costs today. So before we can even talk about that, we need to define what the relevant range is. So the definition is it's a range of volume where the total fixed cost remain constant in total and the variable cost per unit remains constant. So let's say our relevant range is maybe 10,000 units up to 100,000 units. Okay, so within this relevant range, we need 2 janitors, we need 2 executives. We'll just go with that. If we skip up to 200,000, then we need to hire 2,000 units that we're producing. We need to hire 2 more janitors and 2 more executives. So the fixed cost within this first relevant range would be different from the relevant range from 100 to 200. I hope that made sense to you. Okay, if not, ask me about it. All right, fixed costs are costs that do not change in total within the relevant range, and examples are depreciation, rent, property taxes, advertising, and executive salaries. So these are the typical ones that you're going to run across in this class. A variable cost is a cost that does increase or decrease in total in direct proportion to the changes in the activity volume. So the per unit stays the same, but the total will change. Examples of variable cost are direct material, direct labor, and you're also going to see that generally cost of goods sold is a variable cost. Sorry, I had a brain freeze there. Okay, a mixed cost is one that has both variable and fixed components. So overhead, some of the overhead items are typically going to be mixed cost. Some of your selling and administrative cost will be mixed cost because they'll have a fixed component and they'll have a variable component. If you look at your water bill at home, possibly your water bill has a base amount that you pay just to have the service available, and then you pay so much per gallon of the water that you use. Same thing for electricity, same thing for your natural gas bill or your propane bill. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to take these mixed costs and learn how to separate them, but not in this video. Okay, I typically like to draw a little tic-tac-toe kind of thing as my little cheat sheet to remember how the fixed and variable costs behave. So as a per unit amount, a variable cost stays the same, but in total, the variable cost will change. For the fixed cost per unit, it changes, but in total, it stays the same. So let me show you how it works. Let's start with fixed cost. If the fixed cost is $10,000 per month and we produce 1,000 units, that's going to be $10 per unit. If we have $10,000 per month and we make 5,000 units, then the cost will be $2 per unit. So I want you to notice that the fixed cost stayed the same in total, but it changed per unit. So when it changes per unit, as your number of units increased, so we went from 1,000 to 5,000, the fixed cost per unit decreased. So it's an inverse effect. It went from $10 to $2. As the number of units decrease, okay, so we're going to go from 5 up to 1,000, the fixed cost per unit will increase in a proportional manner. Okay, did you get that? If not, pause the video, work out the numbers, reread it, make sure you understand it. Okay, variable cost, we're going to assume it's going to be $2 per unit. So the variable cost is going to stay the same, $2 per unit. If we make 1,000 units, the total variable cost is $2,000. If we make 5,000 units, the total variable cost will be $10,000. So the cost per unit stayed the same. The total variable cost changed as the number of units increased. We went from 1 to 5. The variable cost in total increased in direct proportion. Remember, fixed cost was an inverse effect. Back to variable cost, as the number of units decreased, we go from 5 to 1,000. The variable cost in total also decreased in direct proportion. Okay, pause the video, make sure you understand it, work out the numbers, and then restart the video. Alright, let's do mixed cost. So now we're going to have $5,000 a month plus $1.50 per unit. So the fixed cost piece is going to stay the same per month. So it's $5,000. The variable cost piece is going to be the number of units times the per unit variable cost, $1.50, to get the total variable cost. And then we add the variable of $1,500 to the fixed of $5,000, and that gives us a $6,500 total. Okay, this is number crunching, all right? So now we're going to take the total mixed cost, divide it by 1,000 units, and that gives us $6.50 per unit. But look, our mixed cost per unit does not stay the same. And that's one of the ways that we can recognize that it is not a fixed or a true fixed or a true variable cost. So at 5,000 units times $1.50, 5,000 units times $1.50 is $7,500, plus the $5,000 fixed piece is $12,500. Divide it by 5,000 units and you get a different per unit cost for the mixed cost. So mixed cost is not the same as a fixed cost because the total does not stay the same every single month. The per unit is not the same as a variable cost because it does not stay the same every month. So that is how you can, or per every unit, that's how you can tell that it's a mixed cost. And our job in the next video is to separate the mixed cost into its fixed and variable components, and I'm going to teach you the high-low method to do that. Okay, I hope you learned something in this video, and I hope you come back for more. Okay, talk to you later. Bye-bye.